Hi, as you can see, I've finished the card now. I've taken a photograph of it and I've just had to make a slight adaptation to the bottom in that I've had to actually just chop off the bottom couple of scallops so that it stands up a bit more stably, because what I found was it was very easily falling over and I was struggling to make it stand up on such a narrow point. I don't know why I didn't think about that when I was actually making the file, but as you can see, that's how it's come out. I've done it in slightly non-traditional colours and I think it's come out rather cute. Alright, I hope you can see where the adaptation is, and I hope you'll enjoy making your own Valentine's card from this file. Alright, thanks. I will get on with the video now, showing you how to make the file. Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverly here over at Crafting Chaos, and I'm here with the first project of the year and also my first proper project on the Canvas Workspace downloadable version. As you can see, it is very different when you see it on screen, but a lot of the operations are very similar. Now, I've now since, last in my video, I said one of the things that was going to annoy me was the fact that we didn't have a shortcut for D. Now I've actually, because I'm on a Mac, I've now created a shortcut for it and I've made it Command and D. So if you're interested in on how to do that, create your own shortcut so you don't have to keep going layer, etc, etc, you can just do it from the keyboard, then I'd be more than happy to do a quick video on that, but I'm not going to look at that right now. Right, just for simplistic sake, I'm going to make a file today that I think might make a nice topper for a Valentine's card or similar, just to show you some of the basic functions of the machine. Now I did show you a 3D file of like a pop-up sort of Happy New Year card, and I am going to be making that video soon, but I'm going to be changing it into Happy Birthday, and I'm going to put on mine, it's going to be either Andy or Becca, because both of those two people in my life, my son and his partner, have their birthdays on the 23rd and 24th of January, respectively. So I've obviously got cards to make, so I'm going to make it, I'm going to change the format a little bit. The concept's the same, it's just the words that I'm putting on each of the layers will differ, and that will show you how to make the layers sort of welded onto the different layers of the card, how to actually put it so it bends all together and folds flat, but so that when it folds out it makes like kind of 3 steps where you've got your words popped out like I showed you in the preview, sneaky peek on the last video that I did just before the end of the year. So that's where we're up to, and I'm going to get straight on with this. I'm still learning myself this new, well, it's not new software, but still learning about where things are, so just bear with if I don't get it perfect first time, because I'm doing this live. Well, live as it was, that I'm not actually going to be editing it too much because I don't have time to spend a lot of time editing, but I think if I get the content up there you can sort it out from that part on. So I'm going to bring on a heart, and I'm also going to bring on a scalloped heart, so I'm bringing on 2 shapes like so. Now I'm going to leave them as the size that they're at the minute. Now this area here, when you, whatever you've got to clicked will bring up an appropriate box for that. Now the shapes just brings up this massive thing on this side which really gets in the way of what you're working on. So when I'm not using it, all I do is click this one and it just gets rid of it so that I can see clearly what I'm doing. Click on it again and it brings it out again. So you've still got your different basic shapes. They're exactly the same like we've said before. Text, import your SVGs. This is a different icon for the tracing element, and we'll be looking at that in detail at another time. Here you've got your path tool, and here you've got your freehand path if you wanted to draw sort of a squiggly line that wasn't entirely perfect. Now all I'm going to do is make this one smaller, so I'm going to maintain the aspect ratio, but I'm going to reduce the size somewhat. Now I think I've gone a little bit too mad there, so I'm just going to increase it again proportionally. And I know it's proportionally because these maintain aspect ratios clicked here. Now this bit I do like, because that keeps whatever you've got open here, whether it be properties, edit, layers, or the artboard, which is just things about the ruler and things that you've got on your map, whether you want it in inches and so on. It keeps that open so it's there for you to refer to at all times, which is what I think that's actually a very good thing about the software. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to increase that again to, I think I'm going to go to about 2.75 and see what that looks like. And I've just put that in, type in so that I can see. And I think I'm kind of liking that. So I'm going to try to make this quite modern and a little bit funky for younger people possibly, but you could do it in any style that you choose. So now I'm going to draw a sort of like a blue square around everything by clicking my mouse, or in my case it's my mouse pad, and dragging it across so that it's selected both elements. And I'm going to just need to make sure that the small one's on top. And if I click there, you can see it's actually selecting the scalloped heart, and that's not what I want. So here's where the layers come in. If I click on layers, it's actually this shape here that I want on top. So I can just move it up to the top just by clicking it and dragging it up. Now that one's on top, do it again, and that one becomes on top. So now when I click there, selecting the small heart, so now I know that I've got that layer selected. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to make sure that they're aligned in the center and also the middle. So now I know that that small heart that I've just created on top is exactly in the center of the scalloped one. And I'm going to then click on, this is nothing different, we've seen this before when we've gone on that bit edit and process the overlap here, and we're going to subtract. And what's happened now is if we go to layers, we can see now we've just got that one layer, and it's a frame, if you will, a heart frame. So what I'm going to do, as you know, what I like to do is give it some colour. So I'm just going to edit the fill, and this is slightly different on a Mac, but yours will come up with whatever. I like to just go to the pencils unless I want a very specific colour, in which case I might choose, if I click on those and click a thing as I pick, and I can check any colour I want from the colour wheel if I wish. But I tend just to use basic shapes, so I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to make it a reddish colour, like so, because obviously it's for Valentine's Day. Now, so at the minute, the shape, if we look at it, size-wise, is just short of 4 inches. So I'm going to make it 4 inches exactly, so then we've got a good starting point. In fact, I think I quite like to make at least a 6x6 card, so I think I'm going to increase that to a 5. So now we've got quite a decent size heart to play with. Next I'm going to bring on some text, and this is another thing that I absolutely love about this downloadable version. It negates the need to use the type converter. However, I do believe that people that are operating the Linux system, or which is like a Chromebook or something similar, are not able to download this either. This software, like the Mac users, are only just about able to do it just before Christmas. What a lovely Christmas present from Brother. They actually made it possible for us to download it as Mac users, but apparently Linux has still not got the right operating system to run the program, so you can't download it, I believe. So if you do need any support, I have got videos on how to create text using the text converter software, so that you can use the different fonts on your computer, on my YouTube channel at Beverly's Crafty Chaos on YouTube. And if you type in Brother Scan and Cut Tutorials, I'm sure you'll find me on there. It's Beverly's Crafty Chaos. Alright, so what I've done is clicked on the text icon, and then I'm going to change the text. And because I want it a bit funky, I downloaded from thefont.com a font that's called Fatty, and it's quite, not necessarily the best name, but it is quite a quirky, fun font. And I'm just going to type in I then love you. Okay, so I might have the first letter of each word is capitals, and see how I like that. So now you can see it's brought on that really quirky, young, sort of fun font, and I'm going to make it a colour so it's easier for us to see. So we're just going to add some colour, fill, and again I'm going to make it a darker red this time so you can see it. Now, as you've seen, I did type everything out together, so I can't move the letters individually yet. But if I bring up the edit function, I can then divide them and now I can move all of the letters individually. So now if I go on undo and undo so that I get back to doing that. If I want to just check the size of my letters for my heart, I'm going to want them to be a little bit taller, so I'm just dragging that one down, possibly, maybe not quite that tall, and maybe a little bit thinner, which sort of negates the fatty bit, but I think if I'll drag that down now, maybe just a little bit bigger. I'm just going to go a little tiny bit bigger and try again. And what I'm trying to do is see if I can get that love kind of going across like so. And I can always adjust the size of each letter because some of them are a little bit odd. And then I'm going to divide them again so that I can move them individually. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a duplicate. So I'm going to use my new command keyboard key that I've created, which I'm loving, and I've created that, and I'm going to start dragging so that I've got something to mat onto. Actually, I wanted to do it slightly different because I wanted it to be more like a matting layer. So I need to go back to where we've got the full one, and then I'm going to create an offset, which again is over here in the edit, and I want it to be inward, so I'm going to click inward. Again, they look slightly different, but they do exactly the same thing, spacings, so that I want that less than that. I want it to be quite a small offset line, if you will. We'll keep it inward, round, leave as is, and then say OK. Now, if I look at this carefully, now I should have, if I can just get the back one, hopefully that's the back one. Oh, now, see what's happened here with the E? I don't want that, so I'm just going to undo that. And if that happens, just take it back a step, remove the offset, select it again, and again, then just try making it the smallest it'll go and see if it works. So we'll say OK again. We'll try to get the outward one, drag that away, and I've got the inward one and the outward one. So this one is slightly smaller than the other one. So I'm just going to flood that with colour too. So I'm going to click onto the edit, onto the fill one. I'm going to make it red, and then we can see. Now when we've done this before and we've had to do it with the type converter, when you bring it into the software, it actually had all these little holes that you had to deal with and cut out, or else otherwise when you tried to weld them, it welded the holes as well. Well, what I've found is with this one, the one that you type in initially is actually already done for you. So when I click on that and say I want to divide it, you can see that the hole is not there. Okay, so I'm gonna just minimize, because it's getting on my nerves, keep disappearing the file and edit. So what I tend to do on my Mac when I'm working is do it this way so that I can actually access these without it keep coming on and off, but I've still got quite a big surface area to work, screen to work with. Now what you can see with these is these have got those holes again that we need to get rid of. So what I'm going to do is just divide it initially, and then I should be able to just remove each of those offending circles that are causing us the issue. So now I've got my matting layer for when I've actually welded the shape on. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to place the words I, and I'm going to put the I like so. Remember, we can make them a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, however, rotate them a little if you wish. I'm going to just make that ever so slightly bigger and rotate it a little bit more that way. And then now then, if you do that first and you've adjusted the size of the letter, I'm just going to undo that again. Just excuse me, because I just want them to be a little bit bigger, and I think it would have been simpler just to make them bigger, else all my matting layers are not going to work. So I'm just going to go back to that. Excuse me for confusing you. I'm not going to edit that bit out. I could do, but I'm not going to, simply because I want to be able to make it a little bit bigger, like so, and then I'll make the offset later when I know that the size of the letters are going to be. And I've done it this way so you can see the way my thought process actually works. So I've divided them again now, and I'm going to start arranging them. So then if I do need to make them slightly bigger or slightly different, I can still make an offset of everything that I've got. And I'm going to put the love, and I need the O, I want it to be touching the L and also the I. I'm going to now put my V in position, and again I want to just rotate it a little way, not quite so much. And remember, this is all about what you like and how you like it to look. I just want it to come that way a little bit, and then I'm going to fit my E in, hopefully there, and that's going to be overlapping that bit. And then I can bring in the U. Now I just want to move that I up slightly and the O up slightly, which means I might just need to move them all. And you can just play around with this until you're happy that you've got them where you want them to be. So I'm just going to bring the Y in, selecting that one. I'm just going to rotate it ever so slightly and then stick it there. And then I'm going to bring in the O. Again, I'm just going to carry on adding the letters, maybe move it a little bit that way, or even down a little. It doesn't matter whether it's attached to the bottom or the top, as long as it's creating a bridge somewhere. And I'm quite happy with that now. I love you. And again, what's pleasing to my eye might not be pleasing to your eyes. I'm just going to stretch that out a little bit. And because it's such a light, unusual, quirky font, the fact that that's changed the size to the rest of the letters really is irrelevant. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go on my layers, and this is where the layers is fantastic, because I can hide. So I've just clicked on this one here, the layers. I can hide the main shape, then select everything else, and then I can go on to the offset line, create the inward offset, and say OK, and that will have brought in all the offset letters, and I'm just going to drag them all off just so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just dragging them all off. They're a little out of order, it doesn't really matter because we're cutting them out anyway. And as I drag them off, you'll see it's leaving the other bigger ones left behind. Then I'm going to go back onto my layers, and I'm going to bring back the shape, and I'm just going to select the heart and all the letters that we've just put into position there, like so. Then I'm going to click on the properties, and I'm going to go and process the overlap and weld. And that should weld all of those shapes together, and you can see it has actually done that. So now all I would do is cut that out as my topper. And if you wanted, you could always cut yourself out a heart. So if you wanted to go back into the shapes, you could bring on a heart. Now remember, I kept it proportional, so the fact that we didn't do this initially, it doesn't really matter because it's still going to fit behind. You just make it slightly bigger, ever so slightly bigger, so that it'll fit without interfering with anything else. And I'm going to give that, I'm going to close that by hitting that. I'm going to go onto this paint. It looks like a paintbrush, and that's where you can do all your colouring and things. And I might make it sort of a pinkish colour behind. Now again, at the minute that's on top, so in the previous software that I was using online, we'd have had to go on, send it back and so on. What we can just do with this one is click on that one, and we want that shape to be underneath that shape, and there you can see we've got that. Okay, and in fact we want that one to be right down at the bottom, like so. So now we've got those. Now if I select all of my letters here, and I could go on that again, and if I click on that and choose red, it'll send all my letters red. Now again, we will have to divide that one so that we can get rid of that centre, and also divide that one so that we can get rid of the centre. And so all I'm doing is clicking on the letters that have a hole, hitting divide, clicking off, clicking the bit that I want to get rid of, and then deleting them. So now if I sort of drag these in, I could just make sure that they're all on top now. So I'm just going to go back into my layers, and I just need to make sure that those two are like at the bottom. So that's at the very bottom, then that, and then all the letters at the top now. So all I would do, obviously when you've cut it out, not now, because obviously I'm not going to waste a lot of time doing this now, but you could sort them out afterwards and stick them on so you've got a little border, and it just gives, and you can pop them up on pop dots or sort of something like similar if you wish. And all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put those up to the top, and what we could do just as a final part is make a base card for this if you wanted to. And I'm going to just make a dead straightforward card. I'm going to bring on the scalloped heart. What did we have that one at? Was it 5? Let me just go back on. 5 by 5. I'm going to make this say 5 by 5. 5. So make that 5 so that the shape is 5. And I'm going to duplicate it by hitting my Command and D, which is what the code is that I've personally made. Now I'm going to select both shapes, line them up to the top just so that they're lined up to each other, and I'm going to hit weld. Now all I'm going to do now is just look, if I look in there I can see that it's just left the smallest of remnants of that heart scallop in the middle there. So all I'm going to do is click on the selection tool and minus that node, and I think I'm more or less there now. I'm just having to do them individually. For some reason it's not letting me select them all, so it's just getting them to turn turquoise until you've got them all. And that seems to be it now. They seem to have all disappeared. Double click just to make sure there's still one there. Okay, so most annoying that I can't get this one. There we go. There, now they've all gone. So now we've got rid of the nodes. If I click off, I'm now going to just put in a score line. So Shift and Command, and then drag it straight. Why is it doing it in such an awkward place? I'm not liking this. It took me a while to work it out why it seems to be doing it in the most strange places there. I've managed to get it now. Now, when we've had a problem selecting that line before, this is again where the layers come in. So you hit on layers, you can see that one's the one we're working on. If I click on that layer, it automatically selects it, as you can with anything. You can select just any particular layer you want. That's the one we do want though. And we're going to go on to the edit, and we're going to change it to so it stays on a cutting line and becomes a dashed line, like so. So then we can select both of those and group them. So now that's a group, but we can move independently. So if I just select these here, that will now fit exactly onto that map below, like so, taking into account the fact that we've just lost part of it because we've done the score line by welding. So now I'm just going to have one final look at this file here. So I just want to make sure that there's nothing problematic going on with this file. So just click on, click off. I don't want to select anything, just want to click off, thank you. And if I zoom in on this area here, let's just have a look at how small that is. And there's one there that's smaller still. So that could cause a problem. So I'm just going to double click to expose the nodes. Draw around those and delete them. It just seems to want to keep crashing. I think it's because we've got a lot of stuff on at the minute. Now just minus that node, minus those, and I'm just cleaning it up just a little bit so that we're not going to get any problematic areas that we don't want to cut and put that amount of stress on the blade. So just be patient, let the software catch up with itself. I've drawn a box around those, and I think it's just working slowly because I'm zoomed right in, and it's taking a lot of processing power to work this. I'm not sure it should be going this slow, but maybe that's a problem with the Mac rather than the software. So that's that done now, and we can zoom back out. So again, display, zoom all objects to map, fits everything back on, and we've just double checked that we've got nothing too problematic there. All we do then is file, save as, give it a name, and I'm going to put Valentines. Card. I'm going to put it in my FCM file. Now, the thing with this one was I hadn't realised that when you save it in here, it doesn't save it as an FCM. You can upload it as an FCM but when we go on, if I just go on to that and look in my area, just bear with while I find it, and documents and FCM, you'll see that it's come up, and it threw me a little bit, did this one at first, so I don't want you to have the same issue. It saves it as a CWPRJ. Now I think that means Canvas Workspace Project, and it's fine, it does work, but when you try to, it doesn't open it as an FCM for some reason. Now I don't know what that's all about. And I didn't see any saving options. File, so file, save as, maybe this the next, we can change the extension possibly, I don't know. But it does seem to want to default to this project one. Now when you go to the online version, you can upload this file, and then I know it's a bit of a problem if you don't need to do that. And now that I've got the CM900, I can just transfer it straight to my machine, which is what I'm going to do now. Transfer FCM file via the internet. It doesn't say to the scan and cut, but that's what that actually means. So I've found that one out. So you click on that, it's processing. The registered machine is ready to download the transferred file. So it's telling me it's sent the whole file now across to my Brother Scan and Cut machine. So I'm going to say OK. Okay, so I'm going to have a go at cutting this out and assembling it, and I will take some pictures of the finished card. If you've got any questions, please leave them below on the comments, and I'll be back soon with that 3-dimensional card. Alright, so thanks for watching. As always, please like, share and subscribe. Please let your friends know where to find me, and I will be doing some like simplistic tutorials just to get you into using the different format of the software. Okay, I'm sort of got some really brilliant things with the software that I really like, and some of them I think are not just as good as what they could be. They were better on the other version, but maybe it's just because it's a learning curve again and getting used to where the new things are, or rather where the old things are repackaged, if you will. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.